Campbelltown Hospital falls within the boundaries of parish, so Father John and I take it in turns being on call to go to the hospital. And often enough, those calls come from the emergency department. So when you walk into emergency, it doesn't really matter if it's the middle of the day or the middle of the night. The atmosphere is often very much the same. There's a collection of people who are sitting, waiting to be triaged, waiting for their turn to be treated. You might have an older person who you can see is just sitting there silently bearing the pain that they are in. Maybe it's a parent with a young child. The child has a fever, or perhaps they've had a backyard accident. Somebody else who is clearly in a very precarious kind of situation. Into all those different moments, and we've all experienced some of that grief, some of that suffering, some of those times in our lives when it's just so overwhelming. Into all of that, we come on Good Friday. Good Friday is a radically different day to every other day in the year of the church. There is no Mass today. There is no attempt to try and live out the mystery of what Jesus did through the Eucharist. We receive communion today because we consecrated enough last night at the Mass that we had for the Lord's Supper. But from the end of the Mass of the Lord's Supper until the beginning of the Easter Vigil, so almost 48 hours, there is no Mass anywhere in the world because the church is silent at this time. We move into this encounter with the God who makes himself visible to us, particularly in our readings today. We hear of the suffering servant, the servant who is just so vulnerable, so exposed, and yet he's there. Just like the people who are sitting in the waiting room there at the emergency, waiting for some sense of hope. But there is a lot of darkness that punctuates our lives. And it's all of that despair and darkness and confusion the church presents Good Friday. Just in front of me here is a crucifix. We will be using it later in the service today as an opportunity to venerate the cross. Just to come and to present whatever it is that you need to lay down. Whatever suffering you carry, whatever keeps you awake at 3 a.m. in the morning with all kinds of anxiety. Maybe it's a relationship that has gone bad. Maybe it's grieving that you haven't yet completed. Maybe it's a wound that you carry from your childhood or from your youth. Some remembrance of a sin or some kind of area of dysfunction, some place of addiction in your life. And you haven't yet had the courage to fully surrender it. The veneration of the cross is an opportunity to let go of that stuff, to bring it forward and to place it at the foot of the cross. Whether that's as you come forward, whether that means that you simply bow, and in that bowing, remember all of those moments, all of that grief. Maybe it's somebody else that you're beginning to grieve for. Maybe they've been diagnosed with cancer. Maybe they've lost their job. Maybe they've moved to another city or another country. Maybe it's someone back home that you're grieving and you're worried about. You get the chance to bring all of that today to Jesus, to the one who knows what it is to suffer. It's not like we have a God who hasn't experienced any of these things. As we're told today, Jesus has experienced all of this. God has experienced all of this in Jesus. We don't have a God who is distant or absent or away from us. We have a God who knows what it is to suffer. We have a God who has experienced all of this himself, and he allows us to connect and to find a place where we can let go, where we don't have to cling so desperately to all of our past and all of our mistakes anymore. Because in Jesus, he gives us this opportunity to finally be free. We might still be confused. We might still carry those griefs and those burdens. But the cross of Christ and the gift of Good Friday lets us know that we are no longer alone in any of sorrowing or suffering. That Jesus walks with us and he's there to take away our guilt, to take away our sin, to take away any area of dysfunction, that we can bring our own suffering or the suffering of a dear friend that is still sinking deeply into our guts. That wherever we are today, whoever we carry with us in our hearts, whatever grief we haven't yet fully processed, whatever dysfunction or relationship breakdown we haven't yet fully let go of, today we can take one more step towards that surrender and that letting go of all of that so that we can find this freedom. We pray for the church. We pray for all of the different situations and people that surround us today. We are invited into this place and this encounter so that we can find that freedom to finally let Jesus do what he so longs desperately to do. To look at us with love. Just to hold us and sustain us. As we come forward, that's all he wants to do today. To look deeply into our hearts, into our lives, so that we can finally see his love. We can finally stop that running away, and we can, say yes to his love. And we can surrender whatever we hold, whatever burdens us, and we can lay it down at the foot of the cross.